the new Usaid director.
You're right.
About,
You are you?
well, I used to work here 10 years ago,
Hello.
but
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I just arrived about
Good to see you.
So it's a return for you.
It's a return.
I feel most protected person here. I'm surrounded with the EU and USA. I think that's good. Yes. I feel safe. How much? You. Yeah. You are not limited.
Dobar dan svi.
Good morning to everybody. I think we can start. My name is Ljubka Pavlović. I'm assistant of the General Director in the service of the Commissioner for Information of Public Interest and Personal Data Protection. I'm glad to greet you. Because of pandemics, this is a hybrid moment. We were hoping last year that maybe we would meet in person, all of us, but welcome to those who are present at the moment and also to everybody who is following us online. If you wish to tweet from this event, our hashtag is right2know 2021, and I am passing the floor to Mr. Milan Marinovic, Commissioner for Information of Public Interest and Protection of Personal Data. I hope you hear me. Normally I speak loud enough, and it is one of characteristics that a commissioner should have. So it is another day of the right of public to know. From 2002, it is officially marked on the 28th of September worldwide as a reminder that access to information of personal interest is one of the most important levers of the control of authority and fight against corruption. Unfortunately, as the last year, this year as well, this day is marked in a way that doesn't correspond to the importance of this day. It is important for citizens to know what is happening, but because of the COVID-19, we are not in a position at this moment to invite together all the representatives of institutions, but we still think that this forum that we are now having next year will be only a bad memory, and that we will meet in person next year. But this year, our proven friends are here. Let me start from the beginning, as it is written in the agenda, from the United Mr. Emmanuel Giofre, head of delegation of European Union, then Jan Bratu, head of mission from OSCE, Mr. Tobias Flessenkemper, head of mission of the Council of Europe in Belgrade, and also Mrs. Susan Fritz, acting director of the mission of Usaid in Serbia. I'm glad that all of them were in a position to come. Also, this year we will traditionally offer awards to those organs of authority that were especially contributive to this objective. If we don't count on pandemics, the most specific thing of the Day of Public Right to Know is that after several working groups and their work, finally the law on free access to the information of public interest is now there. It has happened this year. there is this law, and it is very good that it is there. So we have to think what to wish for the next year, because as it has been seen, it is possible to realize things even in this situation. We will wish to come to the old normalcy, but let's wish also that this draft of law that we have is adopted in the Parliament. It will be enough, because by adoption of these amendments and changes in the proposed text, the free access right will become more efficient, and the citizens will come to the information that is in possession of organs of authority. They will more easily come to this information. So I have to mention a very constructive approach of the Ministry of Local Self-Government and Administration that is in charge of this law, especially Maria Obradović, the minister, personally. It has brought us to get the amendments of this law in a text that has been improved. Apart from that, I also want to mention that today's day of the right of public to know, there are some other specificities. The first one is that this is practically, after a long time, the day of the right of public to know, where Mr. Marinko Radic has not participated, and I still thank you for coming here. He was General Secretary and he was the head of this department, and I hope he will not be angry when I say that he was like a symbol, and he is now in pension. I thank him for everything. It's not a little bit that he did a lot. So Marinko, thank you very much. And since we don't have this symbol in the form of Marinko, there's a need for a new symbol, someone that will be known in public. And thanks to Usaid, with which organization with which we have a good cooperation, for the first time the commissioner, he has his own logo, and the formal promotion of this logo will be promoted today, because everybody has to know about everything that is happening in our service, but also what the logo looks like. The logo should represent two rights: free access to the information of public interest and also protection of personal data. And I'm sure that we have managed to make this symbol that really represents these two things. Traditionally, there is an anniversary, a 10th anniversary of the Commissioner in practice regarding free access to information, that I am calling the publication X, because this X in the Roman numbers represents number 10. So this is like a booklet on information about the work, and it will be promoted. So I'm taking this occasion to thank our employees who did a very hard work, especially as far as complaints are concerned. They did a great work, and I hoped and I promised to them, if this law is adopted, they will have even more work, but they are used to it. You know how it goes about a donkey who works non-stop. So there will be new people that will join us, and I hope that next year we will be able to greet and to welcome others, and also I would like to greet those who work in other offices, not the one in Belgrade only, but in all other cities or towns out of Belgrade. So the aim is decentralization. So it will be this commissioner here will remain as a central organ, but also everybody in Serbia will be able to follow what is happening in our office, not only in Belgrade, but also in other towns of Serbia. If that happens, I will be very happy next year on this day. So I wish to all of this very good health, and next year to meet each other without a mask. Thank you. I thank the Commissioner for this good message that he has passed, and for me, who works on complaints, I'm very happy to hear that we will have more work. But now I would like to greet and to thank to His Excellency a new head of delegation of European Union, Mr. Emmanuel Geoffrey. I thank him for coming here, and we consider it as a confirmation of our good cooperation that we have had for many years. And without any further ado, the floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Dear Commissioner Marinovic, Ambassadors of Bratu, Mr. Flessenkamper and Ms. Fritz, I'm certainly very honored to be able to attend the celebration of the International Right to Know Day with all of you. I also would like to greet the representative of the public administration that are with us today, and civil society, media, and everyone that is able to follow our discussions remotely today. Access to information of public importance is really one of the fundamental rights of a free and open society. Providing access to relevant information to the public leads to greater accountability of the institutions, encourages the flow of ideas, and represents one of the key tools to fight corruption. Access to reliable and timely information is what allows society to develop, to thrive, and grow prosperous. However, we know that despite the fact that we live in the information society, we are also witnessing the fact that access to the right type of information at the right time and by all those who are relevant stakeholders is not yet fully protected and safeguarded. Access to information is, together with the media literacy, strengthening of civil society and media freedom, a principle essential for fighting disinformation, which is a global challenge and a threat to democracy. We need to work together to keep closing the space for disinformation, raising awareness, and advancing our response. And this was precisely the message that came out yesterday in Skopje at the EU Western Balkan Media Literacy Conference, which was presided over by the High Representative, Vice President of the European Commission, Josep Borrell. Serbia has set up a number of norms and institutions to protect the fundamental rights of access to information, including, of course, yourself, Commissioner. But certainly there's still much to do. The steps that need to be taken are clear and have been spelled out in the action plan adopted by the government of Serbia in the context of the negotiation to the accession of the European Union, particularly Chapter 23. And in the annual report of the European Commission, the next one is due to be published soon, and during the month of October, we think. We'll probably remind again of the deadlines that Serbian authorities still have to have themselves established to make improvements in both legislation and practice, as the Commission was referring just before. And a key consideration by the report is about what type of information is most often not accessible to the public. And an analysis of the data shows that there is a worrisome trend, a decrease of percentage of commissioners' successful intervention related to the request for realization of the right to access to information. And this is raised specific concerns since it often concerns areas where information is related to deployment of substantial financial and material public resources. The Commissioner yourself, you have warned of in the past these problems have a long-lasting impact. Also an impact in particular in the context of the fight against corruption. But it also impacts the perception and trust that citizens have in institutions, and I would like to underline the trust of economic operators and investors who need to operate in conditions of transparency and level and fair playing field in the economic area. So good legislation protecting this fundamental right remains crucial. And Chapter 23 of the Action Plan includes all the steps needed to achieve this. So we have a good roadmap to move in the right direction. In particular, this action plan draws attention on the need to improve access to information on public procurement, public expenditures, and privatization. And this is the reason why the European Union encouraged Serbia to continue and actually accelerate the work towards the adoption of the amended law. And we heard from the Commissioner that steps are taken, so we encourage these steps to accelerate. And also in this context, we advise to take a recommendation by the Sigma project that provides specific advice, expert advice in this area, and abides by all the criteria set in the action plan itself, and of course comply with the international standards. And in particular, we hope to see a law which will ensure that there is full access to all information related to companies and institutions which are funded in any manner through public funding. We also hope that the revised law, soon to be adopted hopefully, will ensure that the procedures initiated by the Commissioner can be more effective and can lead to quick results in those areas which are most complex and where the implementation of this right is the most relevant. Finally, we hope that there is an effective implementation of the law once adopted, including through deterrent sanctions to those institutions that don't abide by it. I also want to stress that legislation on access to information by itself is tightly connected also to legislation and practices of media, civil society organizations, and whistleblowers. We therefore encourage this legislation, as well as other related sets of law and regulation, to contribute to the development of a vibrant and active civil society, as well as a strong whistleblower protection and freedom of expression, as part of a coherent approach towards the rule of law. As European Union, we are committed to continue supporting these important areas through our funding. And as an example, we have been working with the Statistical Office and other institutions on the collection and distribution of data, including through the grant for the conducting of the upcoming national census for the values of 20 million euros. And at the end, I wish to take this opportunity to applaud those institutions and individuals that have strived to go even beyond the spirit of the law and are receiving today an award. They have worked to develop an active and outgoing administration with a positive approach toward the public, media, and civil society. They've done this sometimes in difficult circumstances, so we really want to congratulate all the awardees for their achievement, and we express the hope that their action will inspire many others to take the same proactive path. Thank you very much. Hvala vam.
Zahvaljujem se njegovoj ekscelenciji, šefu delegacije u Srbiji, gospodinu.
I thank Mr. Joffre and particularly for the support and indicating or taking talking about the legal changes and amendments and everything that it brings that would advance the freedom of media and all other objectives that are on the agenda of the Republic of Serbia. And now I would like to greet and to pass the floor to put it like this, our long-standing friend of the institution of the Commissioner, the mission of OECD, that is one of our best friends and our best ally of the Commissioner in a continuous and consequential way. So I'm glad to greet the head of mission of OSCE, His Excellency Jan Bratu. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Commissioner Marovic, dear colleagues, Minister Obradovic, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to have the opportunity to welcome you at today's event. For the 16th consecutive year, the Mission and the Commissioner for Information of Public Importance and Personal Data Protection are jointly marking the International Right to Know Day. This is a great achievement and a strong message of our shared commitment to the right of citizens to access information of public importance. Mr. Marinovic, the mission highly appreciates the long-standing relationship and partnership with you and your office. Our joint efforts are a clear example of professional and productive cooperation between state institutions, civil society, and international partners. At the OSCE, we believe in the right to free access to information equally benefits individual citizens and policymakers. Indeed, access to public information makes institutions more efficient and makes citizens more confident that any pressure on institutions will be made public and that they can hold policymakers accountable. In a series of OSCE commitments, starting with the Helsinki Final Act, through the 2012 Dublin Declaration on Good Governance and the 2014 Basel Ministerial Declaration, all of our 57 participating states, including Serbia, have recognized the importance of the right to information as an integral part of the right to freedom of expression and as an essential contribution to good governance. The OSCE participating states have affirmed the right to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas without hindrance. Meaningful participation in democratic processes requires interaction between well-informed citizens and open and transparent state authorities. When governments commit to transparency and accountability toward their citizens, well-informed and responsive and constructive dialogue can take place, and that benefits everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commissioner has, in the past 16 years, affirmed his and his institution's role as an institution that the citizens and public respect and trust. It is more and more evident, though, that to continue successfully performing its mandate, it does need further support from the government and other state institutions. The global COVID-19 health crisis has brought the importance of accurate and timely information and media reporting into sharp relief. There are concerns that bias and misuse of information are on the rise. In 2020, journalists submitted nearly a third of all COVID-19 related complaints on access to information to the Commissioner. Overall, many of the COVID-19 related complaints were linked to the so-called administrative silence, where public authorities fail to respond in a timely manner to citizens' requests for information. During these challenging times, institutions should continue to do all they can to respond to access requests and to be proactive in publicizing information of importance to journalists, but actually to citizens. An important step in addressing these concerns is facilitating access to data and documents held by state authorities, information of public importance. This would ensure that citizens have objective and trustworthy information, helping them to assess the reliability of sources and to make informed choices. Indeed, transparency combats disinformation and fake news. It is a benefit for all. Another challenge is to end impunity for violations of the right to free access to information, as foreseen by Serbian law. Since 2010, the Commissioner has submitted 340 requests to the government to ensure the implementation of its decisions, and 46 requests have been submitted so far in 2021. Regretfully, none of these cases or requests have apparently received responses. To further our common goal of greater transparency and to greater access to information of public importance, we strongly encourage institutions to be responsive to the Commissioner's decisions and to ensure that all means at their disposal are used towards this end, again, in accordance with Serbian law. Having looked at the challenges, I would like to highlight a very positive step. After many years of pause, in 2020, the National Assembly, for the second year in a row, considered the Commissioner's annual report and adopted some of the conclusions. Of course, the process should be followed to the very end, and its conclusions need to be implemented. In addition, we know that the process of amending the law on free access to information of public importance should be completed by the end of this year, and is in process. That's also good news. We know it's not an easy task, and we hope that the level achieved will be at the right level for the advancement of freedom of information. and access to information. I welcome the fact that the representative of the Office of the Commissioner was invited to the working group for this law and is now contributing to the process of reforming the law. It is important that the Commissioner's opinion on needed legal interventions is taken into serious consideration. The opinion of the Commissioner's Office, an efficient and independent oversight body, on how the existing legal framework should be further advanced should guarantee that these changes bring additional benefit to the citizens of the Republic of Serbia. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very grateful to all the participants at today's event, both those here in person and those following online, for their significant engagement in empowering people to access information, which is crucial to their better understanding of decision-making and the policies and issues that matter to the citizens, to them. I congratulate the awardees, who will later receive awards, who have set examples to be followed for the benefit of the Serbian society as a whole. Congratulations in advance. The mission stands ready to continue supporting all stakeholders to further promote dialogue, ownership and responsibility in these important processes, always in cooperation with the Commissioner and all other partners, state partners, government partners, and civil society partners. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you success in your continuous work. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Zahvaljujem se njegove ekscelenciji, gospodine Bratu. Ovo je stvarno bilo onako podsjećanje i možda i neki presjek sa svim izazovima s kojima se i mi kao kancelarija
there are examples of good practice, and there is enough space and place for further advancement. Now I would like to greet and to invite head of mission of Council of Europe in Serbia, and it is Mr. Tobias Flessenkemper. Some of the most important mechanisms for the protection of human rights come from the Council of Europe, and this is very important, your contribution to our work. I pass the floor to Mr. Tobias Flessenkemper.
Dragi povjereniče Mariloviću, gospođo Pavlović, dragi vaša ekscelencija, ambasador gospođo Fritz, gospodine Brate, gospodine Joffre. I drago mi da mogu da...
Online. I'm delighted to address you on behalf of the Secretary General of the Council of Europe, Ms. Marija Pejčinović-Burić, at the occasion of the International Day for the Universal Access to Information. This day is one of the more recent additions, officially, to our calendar of events promoting fundamental rights and freedoms. All at the same time, it's ever more important as we are starting to move out of the emergency of the global pandemic, which resulted in many consequential decisions of public and private entities. My colleagues from the European Union and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe have already set the stage and addressed and highlighted many crucial issues. So please allow me to take you back to the genesis of this day with some facts from the Unesco document on the International Day's proclamation in 2015. The day was originally proposed as the Right to Know Day in Sofia, Bulgaria, where a number of freedom of expression advocates from 15 countries gathered to promote the transparency and accountability of governments during a conference held from the 26th to 28th September. The countries participating at the event were Albania, Armenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Georgia, Hungary, India, Latvia, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, now North Macedonia, Mexico, Moldova, Romania, Slovakia, South Africa, and the United States. The event led to the establishment of an international coalition of lawyers known as a Freedom of Information Lawyers Network, which has agreed to undertake international initiatives to improve the standards of access to information worldwide. It was also agreed that the closing day of the conference, 28th of September, should be designated as a Right to Know Day and celebrated as such each year. From the list of these countries,
discussing the issue of access to information 20 years ago in Sofia, and also from the actors promoting the access to information, we can see that this right to know has become central for the realization of fundamental rights and freedoms. Universal access to information is important for addressing human rights violations of the past, securing integrity and accountability in the present, and for allowing participation in decisions taken today affecting the biosphere, habitats, population, landscapes, culture well into the future. A culture of transparency and openness in the public administration is essential for asserting the legitimacy of the authority as a public service, and it is developing a relationship of trust between authorities and citizens and monitoring risks of corruption. Openness is the condition for flourishing democracies. Dear participants, let me now focus on some recent work of the Council of Europe in this area. A few years after the Sofia meeting, the Council of Europe's Convention on Access to Official Documents was opened in Trampson, Norway. It is the first binding international legal instrument which recognizes a general right of access to official documents held by public authorities. Serbia signed the Trampson Convention in 2009, but it has yet to ratify it. Less than a year ago, on December 1st, 2020, the Council of Europe Convention on Access to Official Documents entered into force. This convention lays down a right of access to official documents in a legally binding manner. The Trampson Convention is not only the first legal instrument to recognize the general right of access to official documents, but it's also a document that stipulates transparency of all public authorities as a key feature of good governance and as an indicator of whether a society is genuinely democratic and pluralist. The right of access to the official document is also essential to the self-development of people and to the exercise of fundamental human rights. It also strengthens public authorities' legitimacies in the eyes of the public and confidence in them. Transparency is a particularly powerful tool in the fight against corruption. The Council of Europe Group of States Against Corruption, Greco, is looking at the specific issue of access to official documents in the context of its fifth evaluation round, which focuses on preventing corruption and promoting integrity in central government, top executive functions, and law enforcement agencies. In about a third of the fifth round evaluation reports published so far, Greco has made a recommendation to the state concerned to improve access to official documents. Last summer, Serbia has submitted its information to Greco for the fifth round of evaluation. The evaluation committee just visited Serbia 2 weeks ago, and Greco will discuss findings very soon, and we're looking forward to the recommendations. The right of access to official documents is also essential to the development of civic consciousness. It strengthens public authorities' legitimacy in the eyes of the people and boosts public confidence. That's why I'm pleased to recall that earlier this year, Minister Obradović, who is here with us today, announced the ratification of the Trampson Convention during a public event with the Commissioner and experts from our headquarters in Strasbourg, but also with colleagues from Hungary and Norway. We discussed this important topic of the access to official documents as part of our joint endeavor with the European Union and the Council of Europe Joint Programme Horizontal Facility in the context of the action freedom of expression and freedom of media in Serbia. As the Parliament prepares for its autumn session to start soon, it is high time to move ahead with the ratification of the Trampson Convention. The Parliament should allow Serbia to join her neighbors, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Hungary, Montenegro, alongside several Baltic and Nordic countries, including Norway, as well as the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine, in making the access to official documents a truly European standard. Serbia's ratification would help setting the example also globally, as the Convention is open for non-Council of Europe member states. Ladies and gentlemen, people have the right to know what those in power are doing. The Trampson Convention is a milestone, as an access to official documents is essential for transparency, good governance, participatory democracy, and a key means of facilitating the exercise of other human rights and fundamental freedoms. Hence, also the ratification confirms the values of the European Convention for the Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedoms, of which Serbia is a party since 2003. Today's meeting comes at a timely moment. The COVID crisis has exposed how corrupt practices may affect the public in the private sectors and be related to the procurement of systems, bribery in medical-related services, corruption in new product research and development, including conflicts of interest and the role of lobbying, and COVID-19 related fraud in the marketing of counterfeit products and medical products is one among many other risks related to the global pandemic. To mitigate integrity vulnerabilities, Council of Europe member states need to extend the implementation of integrity frameworks, including the access to documents, to all levels of national government, continuously measuring progress through targeted benchmarks and examining whether their institutions are fit for purpose. The greatest challenge is still to prevent corruption before it arises. To this end, promoting a shared integrity culture and preventive mechanisms throughout institutions and branches of powers is essential. Transparency is a productive guardrail around the public sector, including publicly owned undertakings at all levels, regardless of their legal personality, and transparency and access to documents is key. For the comprehensive right to free speech needs to be respected in some countries. We have seen that certain rich and powerful people, as our Commissioner Dunja Mijatovic has found, use lawsuits to censor and harass, ultimately suppress critics and transparency, including stifling access to public documents and information about public contracts awarded to private entities. This is a long-standing problem, but one that has been increasing in magnitude in recent months. Journalists, activists, and advocacy groups are preferred targets of so-called strategic lawsuits against public participation, abbreviated as SLAPs. These are also undertaken to have a chilling effect on those who seek access to information and public documents. Bringing integrity and transparency to the forefront of the agenda is even more important in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. In this context, it's important to highlight the important role that the Office of the Commissioner can play. For the Commissioner's Office, it is important, in the context of the legal reform, to broaden its scope and resources, to allow more people to have access to its services, including by decentralization, and this should also be discussed when reviewing the legislation governing the Commissioner's mandate and functioning. However, the new law on internal affairs has shown us a not-so-good example, as it was presented by the Minister of Interior earlier this month, which also indicates that the access into information, including to digital audio and video recordings and the use of artificial intelligence technology, as well as the collection and data stored by security service, needs to be improved and their access better regulated. Now, ladies and gentlemen, access to information does also extend, as we have discussed in the fourth round of evaluation of Greco, to the pre-legislative work undertaken by ministries and public administration in drafting legislation. In this respect, we also encourage full public participation in that early stages of lawmaking. Dear participant, the right to know is a right, not a mercy. For everyone to realize it, the state has a responsibility to put in place a structure and mechanisms. Serbia is confronting certain obstacles, but none of them are unsurmountable. We are happy to see the legislative reform moving forward, and we are happy to advise, together with our colleagues, on good solutions. We are particularly delighted to see that Minister Obradović has taken the forefront of many of those efforts of reform, and I would like to also congratulate her already in advance for receiving the award today. Thank you very much for your attention.
I thank you, Mr. Fleischenkemper. For me, this was very important what I've heard because of this reminder and indicating again the importance of international cooperation. It is so important for us to ratify this document that has been already signed by Serbia as a legally binding document that will in a very important way strengthen the cooperation between the professionals from different countries. And this pandemic year has shown what kinds of challenges can happen and in which way this right to know can be hampered if we don't have strong mechanisms sufficiently strong, and our answers to this new reality. I thank you, Mr. Flessenkemper, and now I would like to greet and Mrs. Susan Fritz, Acting Director of the Mission of Usaid in Serbia. Within the program of the Mission of Usaid, there is a big project that is being carried out for accountable government, and our cooperation is very important because it contributes to the improvement of realization of this right. So, Mrs. Fritz, the floor is yours.
Commissioner Marinovic, Ambassador Joffre, Ambassador Bratu, Mr. Flessenkemper, representatives of the government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to start by wishing everyone a happy International Right to Know Day. It's my honor to join Commissioner Marinovic and all of you here and online who have demonstrated your commitment to improving citizen access to government-held information. The free flow of information is absolutely necessary for a democratic society and is crucial to ensuring respect for human rights. Democracy demands that individuals are able to participate effectively in decision-making that affects them and to assess their government's performance. And this can only happen with easy access to information. Serbia's law on free access to information of public importance established clear standards that allow anyone to request information from state institutions. Requesters do not need to provide any justification as to why they're requesting this information. It is simply their right to request it, and public institutions must comply. International access to information standards say that any state institution that requests an exemption must prove that the risk to national security or personal privacy considerably outweighs the benefit of public disclosure. A critical component of free access to information is the establishment of an independent agency, just like the Commissioner, to review refusals and to promote citizen awareness of their rights in this regard. It is important that any future amendments to the law further promote the highest standards for the right of access to information, and I know that the Commissioner agrees. Through our Government Accountability Initiative, USAID supports responsive and accountable government. We work with government institutions at the central and local level to combat corruption by enhancing tools for transparency and citizen engagement. We support policy and operational reforms to strengthen independent oversight institutions such as the State Audit Institution, the Agency for Prevention of Corruption, and the Commissioner for Protection of Information. And we work with anti-corruption courts and public prosecutors to improve adjudication of corruption cases. USAID has committed time and resources to these partnerships because we know how important accountability reforms are to both citizens and to the country as a whole. We support the Commissioner's efforts to promote open and transparent government and to raise the awareness of citizens' rights to government-held information. We are pleased to have facilitated the Commissioner's dialogue with government officials, CSOs, and journalists on how to implement free access to information, and with particular attention to hot topics like COVID-19, as was mentioned earlier, and environmental protection. We are honored to have the opportunity to work with the Commissioner and look forward to our continued support through our Government Accountability Initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Fritz, for the support to our work, to the values that we have and that we advocate for. And with this, we have finished the introductory remarks so that now we can pass to the other part that maybe people are most interested in, and it is the awarding different categories of people who have given contribution to the right of people to know. It is our commissioner that will be the moderator of this part. But before I come there, I have to make reference to what I have heard here. I want to thank these people who have all given us support in the efforts that we invest in order to make the information of interest of public more accessible, and for your support to me as a commissioner, as an independent organ that is trying to deal with and protect two of the main important rights of people, access to information and personal data and their protection. Thank you also for the words, for your saying that you will continue with this support, and I count with it. And now I would pass to the better, both parts are nice and beautiful, but this one is more ceremonial. It is awarding people. Of course, traditionally, commissioner makes a commission within his office for the analysis from the informers or booklet of work between 2 Septembers, and on the basis of that, the commission takes an analysis. Nemanja Nenadic of Transparency Serbia was one of the members. It is a representative of the coalition of different non-governmental organizations. Jelena Spasic from the Association of Journalists of Serbia, Željko Podrožić of another association of journalists, Mr. Valnic, who is present here, and I greet him, and me, I was the president of the commission. And the commission has, after a discussion that lasted about 1 hour and a half, decided that among many candidates, different candidates or various, to give the awards in the following way. First, I will say who got the first booklet on information of work, because the trend everywhere in the world, especially in Europe, and I would say it is also expressed through our new law or amendments on the law on the free access to information. The trend is that in the number 1, the article num, there is an invitation to all organs of authority to public all the information on their work. So these booklets will become more and more important in future, because this proactive publication of the work that they are carrying out, and the less work we will have as a commissioner if they transparently show what they are doing. So there will be a bigger circle of institutions that will have the obligation to inform about their work, and we hope that when the law passes in the parliament, you will see that we will insist on having more institutions that do publish their booklets on work. As far as this booklet on information is awarded in a different way through public invitation. They are invited, different institutions candidate themselves. There were six participants, like Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Administration, then High Court in Krakow, High Court, and also the Municipality of Ruma. After discussing, analyzing, we have decided that the higher court or Supreme Court in Kragujevac have presented very important facts within their booklet on information. In the internal, their main page on the 7th August 21, there are 63 pages, and with one click you get the contents, and then very easily you get to the part that you are interested, that the reader is interested in, and the information is shown very easily. So all information are presented in a very easy way that is readable to every citizen, and the citizens get the important information and statistics and everything that is necessary in a simple way. So this Supreme Court in Krakow have received 37 requests, and all of them were adopted, so there is nothing that has not been done with. So that is the reason why we give the best booklet on informational work. I'm inviting the representative from Krakow's Supreme Court. I congratulate you. So this is the reward. If you wish, you can tell us something about your impression. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, respected participants here, Mr. Marinovic, Minister of Local Self-Government and State Administration. It is my pleasure and an honor as a President of the High Court in Krakow, because the Commissioner Service have recognized our work in application of the principle of free access to information and responding to its mandate and all the requests that this court has had during the past year. I thank you for this award. We will continue to, in a transparent and clear way, to inform the public about everything that is of importance of this court in Krakow, so as to contribute to the public to know more about the justice system and our work and other courts as well, and in that way to strengthen the confidence of public into our work, and we are also obligated to that by the Constitution and the law. I would like to greet also the President of the Supreme Cassation Court that is present with us here. Thank you. Now we are coming to the award of the reason of the right of public to know. The proposal is made on the basis of our Commissioner's work, taking into account the carrying out of obligations that come out from our legal basis. So the statistical basis on complaints in our office, with the analysis of measures that each of the organs has taken by publishing booklet on information and their internet presentation, education of their employees, so as to know as much as possible on the law. They have passed a report to us as a commissioner, so that that a positive practice has been established when requests are answered and complaints are presented to us. So there were 6 categories: public organs, the high state organs, the justice organs, local authorities, provincial authorities, and after several years, a special confirmation to the right of public to know. Within the republic organs, the winner is the Ministry of Public Administration and Local Authorities, and strong candidates also were Ministry for the Dialogue and Human Rights, Ministry of Trade, Tourism, and also the Agency for Insurance of Deposits. So this year, the Ministry of Public Administration has presented the best booklet on information. They have 2, in fact, booklets, and both of them were updated in the August 21, and it has 82, the one has 82, the other 22 pages, and they are completely in accord, in agreement with the guidelines of the Commissioner. There are many useful information about the Ministry, their activities. One can access the registries and all the regulations. The internet is in 2 languages, very functional, easy to read. So this Ministry has the best informer booklet on the work. There are no nothing that the Commissioner has recommended that has not been carried out. What I have to stress this year is something that has not influenced only, this is not the only reason, of course, but thanks to the Ministry of Public Administration, in the period from 20 to 21, the work has been intensified on the amendments to the law, of the draft of this law, and now we have the proper draft. Thanks to this, we also have now the insisting on the strength of Commissioner to penalize those who don't answer to the complaints of the public, administrative silence, the new regulations about that. Now the employees have been have passed trainings in this ministry, and there is nothing that the Commissioner has recommended that has not been carried out. So this is one of the Republic of Serbia best ministries in this respect. I am inviting the Minister. Thank you. Mr. Marinovic, ladies and gentlemen, thank you in the name of Ministry of Public Administration and Local Self-Government, and also in my own name. Thank you to the institution of the Commissioner for protection of personal data and right to know. It is for me personally and for the Ministry not only recognition for the work that we have done up to now, but it is also encouragement for the transparency in our work, that continue with that practice, because it is one of the our important obligations, and we hope to be example to other organs at the level of Republic, province, and local. It is more important today when we have in front of us the adoption of the law on free access to the information of public interest that should improve even better the law that is already good. So the novelties that will be introduced in accordance with European practice are based on the principle of proactive transparency. Thank you for having recognized the Ministry of Administration and Local Self-Government as one of the ministries that did good work, and thank you for everything that we have that you have recognized as our contribution. The Commissioner has support of the government. We insist from the President of Republic, Mr. Vučić, President of the government, all members of the government, Mrs. Ana Brnabić, all levels of the authority. An atmosphere has been created where independent institutions can work without problems. After 15 years, we have started and finalized the work on this law. We have adopted many recommendations of non-governmental organizations. We have used the important contribution of the Commissioner, and with pride we can say that we are now about to fulfill one of the conditions for the Chapter 23 that is so important on the European way to European Union of Serbia. Among important candidates for this award, all are women, as if I can notice, so it seems that women are very serious in promoting important human rights, or basic human rights. Thank you. I hope that this statement will not cause some problems with the ministers who are male, but let him do a little bit more so as to reach the level of women. So when we are talking about the highest organs of the government, of authorities, they are not always very easy to handle, because it is not possible to complain to the commissioner about their work. We are talking about the highest organs in the country. They have to respect our principles, and they also have the right to be candidates for this reward. So it has become a practice that among 6 highest organs of power, President of Republic, Parliament, Constitutional Court, and it is the Supreme Cassation Court that has won our award. Why? The informer, the booklet of this Supreme Cassation Court is very accessible, it is very functional, it is easy to use and to look for information that one needs. It is in Cyrillic and Latin letters. It is also partly, or big part of it is translated into English, and also informers from the previous years can be seen, and there are some pod pages, some sub-pages where you have good description about the work of all parts or all activities of the Supreme Court, and there is also case law. The site is updated regularly. It is easy to find the information about the work of the court, but also on the announcements of vacant places and so on. In 2020, this Supreme Cassation Court has 121 requests for access of information, and all of them have been complied with. When someone is doing good work, he has already received, this court has already in the past received an award, but if someone is doing good work, it is no problem to repeat the reward. This is the President of the Supreme Cassation Court. So on the occasion of this International Day, I would like to wish you a happy anniversary. It is 15 years now that you are marking, and I thank you for this award. This is the 4th time, in fact, that we are receiving this award. And as the minister said, the women, it's about women because we are at the head of these institutions. I share this with Dragomir Milojevic, who used to be my predecessor, and in September he was president. So after 6 months, we together, I believe, have deserved this award. So it is important that tribunals and courts are open to the public, especially when we are talking about Supreme Court. And the important thing is that there are no abuse of this position. I'm not very experienced in talking in this way, but I wish to greet everybody and thank you again. Thank you to the President of the Supreme Cassation Court. Now let's continue. So, affirmation of the right of people to know. It is the appeals court in Krakow. Now, don't think that this commission has some affinities, special affinities towards Krakow. No, it is because they are the best. And me personally, I'm not from Krakow, I assure you. I'm from Valjevo. So, why did this appeals court in Krakow got this award, because on their website you can find all the necessary information about acts of the court, and also you can access the archives. On the first page they have just updated all this information in August, and everything has been put in accordance with the Commissioner's recommendations. There is nothing that Commissioner has recommended that has not been adopted. So before I invite a representative from Krakow, I will also say that the higher court also in Krakow has been a candidate, and now I'm inviting the President of Appeals Court in Krakow. Now he is a minority. It is the only man among those who have received awards. My congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dear friends, today is really a pleasure to be here, to be from Krakow at this occasion, because the Krakow has been mentioned so many times when we were all together talking about justice system. As we have heard from the Commissioner, there was a fight between Appeals Court in Krakow and the Higher Court in Krakow, and we are in the same building and in the same floor. So Krakow has given a big contribution. It is obvious from that. I don't want to repeat what has already been said. I just want to stress that it is a big honor for me as judge and president of Appeals Court, someone who is fighting against corruption, who is also regional lecturer on this topic, in front of the people that I represent and judges of the Appeals Court. It is a great honor for me to talk on their behalf and to receive this big award that also represents a big obligation for all of us for the future. Without mentioning what has been already said, I want to say only that Appeals Court is the biggest territorial court of this level, because we cover 1/3 of the territory of the Republic of Serbia. Out of 66 basic courts, 22 are in our charge. Out of 26 higher courts, 8 are on our territory. So it is, we have a big importance as far as this topic is concerned. Appeals Court in Krakow is very important because it covers a very big territory, and during the previous years we received many requests for access of public information, and there was also a complaint to the Commissioner, and I believe that we have deserved this award. And once more, I thank you, everybody present here, especially our guests, our esteemed guest, President of Cassation Supreme Court, and everybody else present here. Thank you. Before I pass to the proclamation of the name of the winner of the next award, I want to mention something while Mrs. Fritz was talking, and it is one of segments of the cooperation of Commissioner with Usaid is online fora. They are online because of the situation with COVID, but they are very important and very useful, very much visited. And one of them I'm announcing for the day after tomorrow, for the 30th of September. It was a Zoom link, and it is called Online Forum on Free Access, organized with us and Usaid. So the name is Accessibility of Information from Prosecutors Dossier. So it is somehow following naturally and logically from the awards that have been. So everybody that received the award were the courts, not the prosecutors' offices. Within the local self-government, the local self-government organs are quite transparent as judged normally, because many of these have not passed their reports to the Commission. That's why they are not here among the awardees. But we have taken into account also that there that evaluations of their work. There were several good candidates that have competed. Zrenjanin, Kruševac at the time, Požarevac as well, other towns, and also municipalities, Apatin, Kanjiža, Kula, Vladičin, especially Crna Trava municipalities, but the award has been received by the municipality of Despotovac. Despotovac has been proposed as a winner because their informer is on the first page. It was done in the 2021. It has been updated. It is very clearly accessible, everything that one wants to find. There are announcements, there are electronic permits. They are showing the transparency in their work by adding to the right of public to know. And on the internet presentations, there are information about the environment. Then there is official gazette is also part of it. And this municipality has passed a report to the commissioner, and there is nothing that has not been resolved from our cooperation with them. So I'm inviting the representatives to approach. Here's the award, the reward. Mr. Marinovic, Mrs. Minister, I want to thank in my own name and in the name of the President of Municipality of Despotovac on this exceptional reward to our municipality, and I promise that it is going to represent an encouragement to go on doing the good work, that we have always been transparent and active. So I thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Now there is a regular award in the regular competition is contribution of the provincial on the level of provinces. The best candidate without any hesitation is the parliament of the autonomous province of Vojvodina. Why? Because on their main page there is an informer, and it has 65 pages. It consists of all the important parts, and it has guidelines, and one of the organs is regularly updating, and that is so important. In the accordance, they have also a person who is in charge of personal information protection. This booklet is published in seven languages: Hungarian, Russian, English, and all the seven languages that are spoken in Vojvodina. So I'm inviting the representative of the Parliament of Vojvodina to receive the award. So, Mr. Marinovic, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to pass the greetings from the President of the Parliament of Vojvodina, and I would like to mention that during the mandate of Mr. Istvan Pastor, it is the second time that we are receiving this award, and we had also received the reward for this booklet as well. So as a lawyer in this Parliament, together with my team, I am the General Secretary of the Parliament of Vojvodina, and in our daily practice we are using and applying this law, and all of us can say after 15 years that this institution has used and consumed this right as far as citizens are concerned, that this right really lives. And I'm especially glad to be able to say that we are in the phase of analysis of everything that is related to this right, and it is the legal principles that rights include obligations as well, so that of those who give information and those who ask for information. So in the name of the President of the Parliament of Vojvodina, Mr. Istvan Pastor, I thank you, and I promise that we will continue complying with the law and recommendations of Mr. Marinovic and his team. Thank you once more. And at the end, it was something that was not traditional, but this year we have some novelty, and it is several previous years, 2 or more years, I have a special reward for the biggest contribution of the public right to know. There's a statuette. We were not giving this reward up to now, but this year we have come to the conclusion that the biggest contribution has been deserved, and it is the Usaid that we are giving this award to. So in this week, when we are having this day of special day, there will be a forum that will be held soon. It is about the prosecutor's role and access to information on the protection of the environment. Thanks to Usaid, booklet has been made. It is Maria Musi and Mr. Tihomir from Zagreb have also worked on this booklet that has been considered as a very good one, and we are now working on animated video that will be also accessible on their YouTube channel. The big contribution to this institution has been received through Usaid to our commissioner's work, organizational medical visits. Also, with the help of Usaid, we have made a logo that we have promoted today. Today is the first day of life of this logo, and this institution will be known from now on. It is on my left corner. I don't know if it is the right one for you. So we are giving support to the local self-management authorities, and they are contributing the work of these units of local authorities to function better. I'm inviting the acting director Usaid for Serbia, Mrs. Susan Frinz, to receive this special award. So I will hold the statuette.
That we are able to partner with the other donors, the EU, the OSCE, the Council of Europe, to support the very important work that the Commissioner and his team are doing to further citizen access to information here in Serbia. So I'm just pleased to be part of the effort and to represent Usaid and the rest of the donors as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This is easier part.
Okay, yeah.
Mogu da vam kažem, nije...
I can tell you it is not so easy to get this reward. It's also quite a task to hold it. So, Slava Ljubka, it is your floor now. Thank you. Now we have just one topic before the end of our ceremonial gathering. I congratulate everybody, all the winners. As you know, the right to access of information can be done proactively or reactively, and the institution of the Commissioner from the very inception insists on this proactive publication, and it is our own contribution that every year we publish for this day of the right of people to know, a publication where we collect everything that was done in the past period that was important for the work of Commissioner, so as to help citizens to know how and why they should realize their right to know, why it is important for them. We also want to help the organs of the public authorities to carry out their obligations and mandates from the law on free access, to help the public to understand everything that they need to know about this concrete law on access to information of public importance. For this year, it is the 10th anniversary and the 10th time that we are publishing this booklet. And since it is such an important jubilee, if it is such an important anniversary, we cannot be not sensitive or not sentimental maybe. So I am the editor, but that also means that I have to remember everybody that was on this position before me. First of all, Stanoela Mandic, who was editor of the first 7 publications in this area, and who has taught us all. I remember how important it was, everything that what she explained to me, and how much she helped me in my professional development, and to everybody here in the service and people who work with us from external sources. So I first remember her and thank her, and I hope she's following us online. And I also want to thank the previous commissioner, the present commissioner, who have always supported our idea and our wish to publish these publications. And of course, in order to get to the contents of their 4,000 complaints or requests, and especially in 2019, there were 5,300 complaints that we have managed to resolve. So there's a lot of material. It was Mrs. Gordana Sjevaric who was before me in charge of complaints, and I also want to mention her name. It's easy to head a department when you have behind you already 50,000 cases that have been resolved successfully. So she made my life much easier. It is people who make the material. They are people who resolve the complaints on the daily level, and it is a really special, dedicated group of people who love their work and who believe in the mission of what the Commissioner is doing. So I thank them very much, because sometimes you have to, apart from doing your regular work, we also have a part of work regarding this work for this award. So as far as this introduction is concerned, that is it. It is my thanks to everybody who has contributed over time to the creation of this publication. And as for its contents, of course, there is first 4 chapters are, first 6 in fact, chapters are issues that are about process and legal procedures, and then about some costing of this, if the information, deciding whether some information is of public interest. Then 11th and 12th are more material legal character, and there are chapters of business secret, application of Article 10 on free access. Then in practice, as you know, this is not an absolute right. It is assumption that the public has the right to know, but there are also some other interests, also based on law, that have to be taken into consideration when we decide what interest is more important. So these chapters is to help the organs of public authorities to give them sort of guideline how to decide what is the information that should be kept and what is the information that should be given. So the citizens also have to understand what it is that they can request and what it is that they cannot request, because there is a big part of the regulations that deal with the right to protect the personal data. So it's a balance between the two. Sometimes they're in conflict, so we ourselves in the office, we don't know, we have dilemmas about how to weigh in a right way what is more important in every concrete case, what information is to be given and which one is to be held. So with the new law on protection of rights to know on one side, and then the rights of protection of personal data. So in this one chapter is dedicated to helping people and assisting them in thinking when deciding what of the two interests is more important. So chapter number 11 is about difficult, it is the Article 13 about free access. It is a very short chapter. There are only 2 cases that it is talking about, but what is the reality? Unfortunately, sometimes things are happening when some people don't use their right out of some people are using this right to with some objectives that are not honorable at all, that in fact represent an abuse with lucrative purposes for them. So it is the abuse of this right, and sometimes you can stifle the department by sending too many requests, and it is not responsible to answer all of them. And so this shows the process. What do you do if you receive such enormous requests that are sent with abuse, that are in fact based on abuse? But unfortunately what we have to face is that there is something that is called abuse of the right, when the organ of public authority is saying that it is an abuse. Also, it is not an abuse. It is an obligation of the authority to give that information, but they are saying that the one who is requesting is in abuse. So these are complicated situations that this booklet should help organs of the public authority to be able to determine what is abuse and what isn't, who is abusing whom, and so on. So we always have to remember that we are here because of the citizens, and the citizens are not there for us, but we are there for them. So one of the chapters that we have especially looked into are the information about medicine, about public health. These are privileged information, and the deadlines are much shorter for assessing this information. And this pandemic year has shown how important it is of this information. It was so much accentuated this year because it is not curiosity, it is sometimes what you get from the authorities about health, but sometimes it is not, it is sometimes the information that is not correct. So the questions are there to also clarify the issues regarding the environment. It is a big challenge on the global level, and these information are special. So on health and environment. So all these reasons were why we made a special chapter about this. And then finally the last chapter is the law, is the statement that the commissioner is not in charge of the second instance decision taking. It is something that should be resolved on the level of the law, on electronic administration, about reuse of data, and it is said there that the principle of free access should be there, but also there are certain authorities that are given to some organs of the government, and it is not easy to establish exactly who will decide about these issues. So this was in very brief what we have been working on. Now we have some time for the comments, questions and answers. So this is the time for our public. Of course, here you are. Here's the microphone coming. The President of the Supreme Cassation Court. My name is Jasmina Vasovic. I'm President. Not a female president, let's say President, just President. So I don't want to ask a question. I just want to indicate to these guests that before there was a commissioner, we were there. Slavoljubka is someone who worked in the first municipal court. So there was first me, and then there was a commissioner. For those who don't know, we want to greet Slavoljubka, who was an excellent worker in the first municipal court. So I'm so glad that you have reached so far, so high. Thank you. Is there anybody to comment or to give questions? 3 times, second time. Since there is nobody, let me just thank once more to all the speakers here who have participated and who have really made this great important, even more important on this occasion of the Day of the Right of People to Know. And I thank all the winners, and I hope that we will be meeting each other often in the next years. Thank you for everybody who was online following this event, and we hope that next year we will have the full, all seats filled with people, and that thanks to the new law that we will be able to give us even better results. So thank you everybody for coming here. Now I would like to invite you outside and inside. There's a catering service that is offering something for us. It is an informal part. Thank you very much.